So good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Innovation Graduate Webinar. My name is Jacob Lynch, and I'm joined with fellow graduate engineer Ryan Huxtable. And today we're going to give an overview of what it's like to be a graduate engineer within the WPD team. So before we start, just a few housekeeping rules. Can you ensure your microphone is muted throughout the entirety of this session, as well as your video being stopped as well. We're going to first run a poll question just to see what sort of audience we're speaking to today. So we're going to launch, how familiar are you with WPD? There'll be some terminology throughout this webinar, so it'll be good to see if we have to go into detail with this. So please, honest, truthfully, no worries if you're unfamiliar with us. So it'll be good to see the range of people we're speaking to today. Okay, most people have answered. 5 more seconds. Okay, so it seems we've got a range of people we're speaking to today, slightly aware, some not familiar, some very familiar with what we do. So if you do have any questions throughout this webinar, please post them in the chat. Our team support Anna will be able to will do our best to answer them. If not, then me and Ryan will answer them at the Q&A session later on. So today we'll firstly give personal introductions of ourselves, so you can know a little bit about us, and then we'll move to give an overview of the company. We'll then focus on innovation, the reasons and needs to innovate, the values our team stand by, as well as briefly showcasing our innovation portfolio, as well as our own personal projects that me and Ryan manage. We'll then also give an insight into the graduate scheme, what it's like to be specifically an innovation graduate. We'll then end with a Q&A session where you can ask any questions about the graduate scheme. So without further ado, I'll pass you on to Ryan, who shall introduce himself.
Thanks, Jacob. So as mentioned, I'm Ryan Huxtable. I'm a graduate trainee engineer based in Bristol, and I joined WPD graduate scheme back in September 2019. Before this, I studied at Cardiff University, and I studied integrated mechanical and electrical engineering. And throughout this time, I was a Power Academy scholar with WPD as well. Currently, I manage 2 innovation projects. These are temporary event charging and shed, and I'm going to go into a bit more detail on these a bit later in the presentation. Thanks, Jacob.
Thanks, Ryan. Like I've said, I'm Jacob Lynch. I graduated in electrical and electronic engineering from Cardiff University last year. I joined the WPD graduate scheme September last year as well, where I'm based in Castle Donington in Derby. I'm currently on my network services placement, which looks at the day-to-day operation of the business. So go out to jobs, see how underground cables are maintained and replaced, likewise with the overhead network, and seeing how the maintenance of substations are carried out. Within the innovation team, I'm managing one innovation project called harmonic mitigation. And again, that's something we'll go into greater detail later on in this session. So company overview. Western Power Distribution is the largest UK distribution network operator in terms of area covered. It's around 55,000 square kilometres. Within this area, we have to operate and maintain 220,000 kilometres of overhead line and underground cable, as well as 185,000 substations. And all these assets have to serve just under 8 million customers. What exactly is a distribution network operator, or DNO? Well, we're responsible for operating and maintaining everything between National Grid's grid supply point and the customer's metering box. So we operate in 4 license areas: the West and East Midlands, Southwest England, and South Wales. We're a natural monopoly, so we have to be regulated. We're regulated through Ofgem, which is the Office of Gas and Electricity Markets. So why do we need to innovate? The traditional role of a DNO, as I've already mentioned, involves maintaining the electricity network and their assets, such as transformers, overhead lines, and underground cables, as well as responding to faults and connecting new customers. This is now changing as there's an uptake in distributed generation, low carbon technologies such as electric vehicles, heat pumps, and energy storage. And it's these technologies that are constantly expanding. But this has also created complexities on the network with regards to bidirectional power flows. And this is something the foundation of the network wasn't really built for. And we're also experiencing capacity issues purely from the increased in demands in these technologies. So this is where the transition from a DNO to a DSO, a distribution system operator, happens. This is where the network becomes more smarter and intelligent and more efficient. And it's us as innovators that will trial new technologies and create solutions to problems, whether it be incorporating flexibility services or ways of creating more network capacity. So our innovation strategy, which can be seen on our website, determines how we innovate. And we try to evolve our work through 3 main values: decarbonisation, excellence, and value for money. We want to be the leaders in bringing decarbonisation, and this can only be done by employing the best people, working with the best people, and working with the best companies as well. And we're passionate about providing value for money to our customers through our innovation funding mechanisms. There are 2 funding mechanisms to finance our projects, and they are the Network Innovation Allowance, or the NIA, and the Network Innovation Competition, the NIC. These mechanisms are funded through Ofgem, and the NIA is a set amount of money per year that we're given to run sort of smaller scale projects. And the NIC is for larger scale projects, multi-million-pound projects that really do transform the network. And there'll be us and other UK distribution network operators that compete for the funding. So the innovation team here at WPD are dedicated at trialing and developing new technologies through innovation projects to make the network smarter, more efficient, and being able to support vulnerable customers, ensuring no one is left behind. We're committed in finding novel ways of efficiently and effectively transforming the network, as well as continue to develop and evolve new technologies and generate solutions that make the most out of our network. So to ensure we stand by these commitments, in our innovation strategy, we have laid out 5 key priority areas that determine what type of projects we run. These are decarbonisation and net zero, heat, transport, communities and consumer vulnerability, and data. So here you can see the range of NIA and NIC projects that we have. Later on, me and Ryan will give an overview of the projects we run, and you'll be able to ask us any questions you have during the Q&A session. So these projects range from feasibility studies that cost a couple of £100,000 all the way up to multi-million-pound projects that really do aim to transform the network, transform our day-to-day operation. So I'll now pass you on to Ryan, who will give you an overview of the graduate scheme. So Ryan.
Thanks, Jacob. So the graduate scheme at WPD is an 18 to 24-month scheme designed to give you formal training and experience within all the business areas we have. It begins with an induction carried out at one of our training schools in either Tipton or Taunton, where you'll be introduced to WPD and its values and methods of working, introduced to the rest of your cohort and other graduate engineers, and given the basic training you need to carry out your placements. The scheme will then consist of a range of placements, with longer 3 to 4 month placements within key areas, including on-site work with network services and major projects, design work with primary system design and engineering design, and looking at the future of the company with innovation and network strategy. You will also carry out shorter 1 day to 2 week placements. These will involve smaller areas of the business like the control center, purchasing, mapping, and management information. As part of the scheme, you'll be tracked using a system of regular reviews with management and placement managers. You'll have tasks to work through during your placements to ensure that you're meeting all of your objectives, and these are then tracked online to make sure that your progress is as expected and that you're getting everything you need out of your placements. Throughout the scheme, you'll carry out a number of training courses, both internally at our training schools and externally, and these will involve network service appreciations, where you understand what's involved with running the day-to-day installation and maintenance of our network, CDM regulations for the management of on-site work, project management qualifications, and also we'll look at technical courses, including protection and earthing, to help you better understand how the network operates safely. There's flexibility within this to look at additional courses that will align with your personal development aims and help you best realize your potential in the role. So shown on the screen now are some examples of work carried out during your on-site placements with network services and major projects. You'll be seeing a broad range of things across different network voltage levels, but here's an example. On the left, we have a link box change, which is used to connect parts of the LV network. In the center, you have protection relay testing. This is carried out as both maintenance and commissioning to ensure our protection schemes on the network enable it to operate safely and correctly. And then on the right, we have a new transformer installation. These are used to ensure that the network voltages are stepped up and down, creating the right network voltage for customers to be using, and also ensuring we minimize losses. So what it means to be an innovation graduate. So within the innovation team, you'll spend time developing yourself as a project manager, and it'll give you a great opportunity to get yourself involved with the projects that are going to make the difference with the network in the future. So between your placements, you'll spend time with the team, and this will ensure you get the chance to work on projects, attend meetings, and attend internal and external events. You will also have the opportunity to work with our own engineers and develop and scope your own new projects, taking part in the NIA and NIC call responses and looking at scoping your own work. Innovation graduates also have the ability to represent WPD externally with project partners, stakeholders, wider industry at national and international conferences. These include CIRED and ENIC, the Electricity Network Innovation Conference. So shown on the next slide is an example of some of the projects that we currently manage. The first of which for me is temporary event charging. This is a feasibility study looking at solutions for charging electric vehicles at temporary events. These events will include sporting events and music festivals. Currently, these provide a limited number of charge points, and they make use of permanent network connections, which is not cost effective for us as a DNO or the customers themselves, or utilization of diesel generators. As you can imagine, there's a need to meet decarbonisation at these events, so a solution is required to better facilitate EV charging. The aim of the project is to present a suite of solutions for charging EVs at a range of events, so a number of case studies have been identified. We will then carry out cost-benefit analysis of these to ensure that there's a benefit for the DNO and its customers if alternative solutions for event charging are carried out. And we'll also make recommendations on whether we should do a trial of this to ensure that the solutions we come up with are fit for use on the network and at these events. As such, we're working with Connected Curb, who provide electric vehicle charging infrastructure, and GHD, who are a technical consultant. The next project I'm involved with and managing at the moment is SHED. This is a joint project led between National Grid Electricity System Operator and WPD. It's looking at the way we manage frequency on the network to ensure that frequency is maintained for customers and all of their assets can work correctly. It's in response to events such as those on the 9th of August 2019, where there's a significant number of customers in the UK disconnected following a low frequency event. The aim of this is to present new low frequency demand disconnection schemes that ensure we disconnect the right parts of the network to help the problem when help increase frequency and avoid having an impact on customers. We'll then carry out cost benefit analysis of these to look at the financial benefit for us and our customers. And we will consider the consumer impact of LFDD schemes to make sure that we're not disconnecting vulnerable customers or hospitals and ensure that we minimise any adverse impact in these respects. As such on this, we've got National Grid ESO working with us, WSP acting as a technical consultant, and then Cornwall Insight and Complete Strategy working on the consumer benefit side of the work. I'll now hand you over to Jacob, who will talk through his projects.
Thanks, Ryan. So the harmonic mitigation project is a university study that's being carried out by Swansea University, and it aims to reduce network harmonics caused by non-linear loads such as switch mode power supplies or heat pumps by utilising available capacity from solar PV inverters and using them as active filters while still maintaining their normal operation. So the majority of this project is being conducted through modeling software in MATLAB Simulink, and is being where an algorithm has been created to control these inverters. So the outcomes of the project aim to establish whether the algorithm can improve network harmonics when controlling a single inverter, as well as multiple. And at the end, we'll be able to conclude whether a demonstration project is recommended. So as I said, the project main project partner is Swansea University, and PSC Consultancy there as a technical reviewer. And I've had this project for around 2 months now, and already I've learned a heap of skills that are really hard to come by. It's been really interesting, as in this time last year, my lecturers were setting me deadlines for coursework, but now this time around I'm setting them deadlines for various pieces of work. And you do get to, by partaking in these projects, you do really get to work with the best sort of people. The PSC consultant I'm working with has had his PhD longer than I've been alive. So there's a heap of knowledge out there we get to work with and learn from day to day. So what's next? Your application can be made and submitted by the 6th of April. If successful, you'll be invited to attend an interview. This will most likely be virtual through Zoom or Microsoft Teams. And then if successful, it'll be a decision time, and we'll let you know if you've been successful. And the starting date for this graduate scheme will be 13th of September this year. So please apply today. We are searching for the best, so we pay the best. The graduate engineer salary is well above the national average, let alone the average for graduate students. So please apply on our website or at the following link. Before we go to the Q&A, we're just going to run a second poll question asking you, has this webinar been of use to you? So we just launched this question now. A few more people left. Okay. So the results are really good. Thanks everyone. We really do appreciate this feedback. And yeah, we can go into the Q&A session now. So please.
Morning everyone. I'm Anna, the team support within the innovation team, doing things like facilitating the Q&A session within this webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to post within the chat box, and we'll do our best to answer them. One of the questions that we've got at the moment is, do you have to work far away from your base location when on placements?
Ryan, I think it will be more suited for this because you've been to multiple placements.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jacob. So yeah, as you say, I've been on most of my placements now, and I think there's a lot of flexibility in where you carry out your placements and where it's most suitable for you to do that. There's definitely value in working in different license areas during the scheme and looking at the way different parts of the company work. But you're sort of introduced to this when you first start on the induction, and you're sort of given advice on where the best places are to carry out placements. I've actually worked in the Southwest and South Wales licensed areas to get a broad experience, but it really depends on you and your development and how you want to arrange your placements.
Okay, great. Do we sponsor international students is a common question as well. I believe that to be correct. Is that right, guys? As long as we have the correct legal documentation.
I'm not sure on that, to be honest, Anna.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. Whoever asked that question, there'll be an email at the end of this where you can submit the question, and we'll get a response to you.
Okay, great. Do you need a full driver's license?
I believe so, yes, because you obviously when you're out on placement, you'll have to drive to certain jobs, especially in the current climate. So yeah, it's pretty essential.
Okay. What level of knowledge do you expect applicants to have?
I think having a strong knowledge of the distribution network is, it does really, it does help. I don't think having a purely background in engineering is essential. For example, the graduates that part of my cohort from last year had a range of degrees from IT, chemistry, nuclear engineering. But yeah, I think if you submit a really good application that captures your imagination and you research the company, then for sure you have as equal chance as anyone from an engineering background.
Definitely. So basically do your research, guys. What year of study should applicants be in currently? AKA should someone who is in third year or fourth year course apply now for post-course placement?
So for the graduate scheme, I think we're expecting to see applications from final year students looking to start the job in September. It'll be a full-time role. It's also worth making you aware of the Power Academy, which is a scheme for lower years students. So it's worth considering looking into that if you are in earlier years in your degree and you're on a relevant engineering course.
Okay. Yeah, it's worth noting that the start date we're looking at is the 13th of September, around that time. What is the ratio between applications and places for WPD Innovation Graduate Scheme? I believe we've got two places within the innovation team.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's correct. Obviously, it is, the amount of applicants depends on, the applicants themselves. So yeah, I think at times it can be a real competitive environment. But this is a great opportunity for the best graduates to apply and, start a very promising career.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Would chemical engineering students be at a disadvantage for this role?
No, like I said earlier, the cohort I was part of, there were some people who had degrees in chemistry, nuclear engineering, IT. So again, if you show a promise and you research the company, you research the industry well, then you'll definitely be treated equally with people from an engineering background.
Just to mention as well, I've just had confirmation that international students can apply, so not to be put off by that.
Brilliant. Are you expecting candidates that already work in the industry with 2 years of experience, or is this scheme exclusively for graduates fresh out of university?
I think I'll have to double check, but I think the advert says if you've graduated in a degree in the last 2 years, I think. I'll need to double check that, but I think, if you've had, some years experience, you're still counted as a graduate. But that should be, might be seen in the job advert.
Yeah. Do you have to be studying engineering, or can you be from any technical discipline like analytics or finance?
Yeah, I think I've covered that. And we had people backgrounds in chemistry, nuclear engineering, IT, mechanical engineering, and all other. So it's not all electrical engineering. You can have a range of disciplines.
Yeah, and the job advert does include a number of different degree types that we're looking for. So just have a look out for that. What is the equality, diversity, and inclusions culture like in WPD?
I think we're really diverse. If you're successful, you go through the induction period. You'll have a range of sessions and lectures that do cover this. So we do treat people with equal respect, no matter what background they're from.
Great. What is the format for the interview? We can't really be answering any questions around the interview. Unfortunately, it would be unfair to anyone that was unable to attend the webinar. But we can say that, it says it online, that you'll be expected to do assessments and then an online interview. And from that, we'll determine who will be successful in the applications. What backgrounds do you recruit from? Only I feel like we've already answered that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How is the application process? I've just talked about that. Will this recording be sent out to participants? Yeah, we can do that. We can edit it and clear it all up and send it out to you guys. That's not a problem. How big is the cohort, and are you put on placement with other graduates?
So the cohort size varies year on year, and it depends on the company's needs at the time and what they see as the shortage in skills going ahead. And obviously it'll also depend on the applicants we get and those we want to take forward. You tend to be on your own on placements to give you the best opportunity to make the most of your time. If we were to send, I don't know, multiple graduates on one network service placement at the same time, then you'd end up with 5 or 6 people watching a job. When in fact it's better that you can get a closer relationship with the guys you're working with and work independently. You'll spend time with other graduates as part of the scheme on training courses, and you'll be able to catch up with them. But as a whole, your placements will be done individually.
Great. Is there support towards charterships?
When I first joined in September last year, just after the induction period, we were invited to an IET discussion, which lays out, the route for chartership. So there are multiple engineers within WPD who are chartership, and there's graduates who are members of the IET. So there'll definitely be support, people to contact in order if that's one of your aspirations.
Mm-hmm. As the scheme is 18 months long, what happens after that? Are you guaranteed a role within the company? If so, what is the expected salary after the scheme?
Well, I think it's the expected salary is hard to say because it's quite a long way away. We're talking about 2.5, 3 years before you'll get graduate from the scheme as of now. But you'll be expected to become an innovation engineer. It's not guaranteed, however, but because we put so much trust in the graduates, we do expect you to become apply within the business and work for WPD after your scheme.
Yeah. are there any solar PV projects in the plan?
Well, my harmonic mitigation project looks at PV inverters. It's a university study, so technically it is, technically it's not, but we do have, we are taking in, a radiance data. So I don't know if you know any other portfolio projects that contain solar or wind power generation.
I think with the sort of aim of decarbonisation, there's involvement from all sorts of renewable generation in a lot of our projects, from my shed project looking at the impact of distributed generation on frequency, and also the projects looking at flexibility and using different generation resources in sort of smarter ways to manage the network. So I think there will be an aspect of that covered in a lot of our projects, as you mentioned.
Great. And the second question from that person is, I expect to submit my PhD thesis by the end of September. Could I apply?
I think it'd be best to email with information on that and speak to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
the
we'd have to check
that.
that. Yeah. The start date for these roles is around the 13th of September. So that might be a bit too late, but we can check that and come back to you on that. Given National Grid have agreed to acquire Western Power, will this impact the graduate scheme?
Everything's fresh out the water at the minute with National Grid, so we can't really comment in detail. All we can say is that National Grid are really driving net zero, so I should doubt there should be significant change, but we can't say for certain. All we can say is we're really excited about the future.
Yeah. Is the scheme reserved for UK citizens alone? We've already answered that. I am planning to leave my PhD in power networks degree and work in the industry. Do you accept applications from PhD research leavers?
Again, I imagine it'd be a case-by-case basis on looking at what you've done in the past and what your previous degrees were. So it'd be best to email and get advice from employee relations and us on that. Okay. It'd be hard to answer that off the cuff like that.
For the driver's license requirements, would an international student that has a driver's license in another country be accepted? I think it has to be a UK driver's license, but again, we'll check that. Is there any solar/wind power generation projects?
Again, we've already sort of talked about that.
Yeah. Can you share the link to apply for the position? We'll share these slides and the links on there. Is the first interview the final stage of the assessment process, or are there further interviews?
I don't think we're allowed to specifically talk about future interviews. Yeah, I think submit a good application. You'll hear from us after that, and then there'll be an interview process for sure.
Is there only one role available in Castle Donington? There's 2 roles open to the innovation team for the innovation graduates, whether that be in both in Castle Donington or both in Avonbank, or one in each. There's 2 roles, so wherever it be. I think that's most of the questions. I think we've answered most of the questions now.
Yeah, there's one that I want to address from someone who's asked, will we have a chance to work on the projects mentioned in the slides? Possibly there might be small tasks we might set for you, but there'll definitely be new projects down the road, because all the time we are getting new projects in. So your first couple of months will be getting to grips with how we manage our projects. And then if you show good promise, we'll entrust you with managing a project, and you'll get a hands-on experience then at managing these and learning the fundamental skills.
Great. I'm sorry, one more. How does the innovation grad placement differ from other advertised grad roles?
So each grad has a sort of base team and a home team that they work with throughout the whole of their scheme. So although there'll be similarities in the placements everyone carries out, your manager for this one will be within the innovation team, and you sort of return to the team in between your placements and work with them during the rest of the time. But yeah, the overall sort of training and scheme are similar to most of the disciplines.
Great. I think that's all the ones that are relevant to the grad scheme. If we haven't answered your questions, please feel free to email the inbox, or if you have any more queries, we'll endeavour to get back to you guys. Jacob, I'll let you close.
Yeah, no problem. Well, yes, thank you very everyone. We'll run one last poll question. The third and last one: will you consider applying from watching this webinar? If you already have, don't worry. Click the I've already applied box. We'll look forward to your feedback. Yeah, just a few more seconds. Okay, that's excellent. Sounds looking at the feedback here, and good luck to everyone who will be applying, and hopefully we'll get to see you soon enough. I've been Jacob Lynch, joined by Brian Huxtable. If you do have any questions, please email them to wpdinnovation@westernpower.co.uk. And other than that, we wish you a good day. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.